Now, Bob Costas, the face of NBC's Winter Olympic coverage, says that he will not be shy of addressing Russia's controversial anti-gay propaganda law, telling reporters that he'd like to speak to President Vladimir Putin directly, rather than offering his own commentary during the Sochi Olympic Games. Costas told the Associated Press, quote, "If Putin doesn't drag his butt into the studio, then we'll talk about it without him. But if he shows up, we'd rather talk to him. Wouldn't you rather hear it from the horse's mouth? I would. That's what I was trying to say." So, Jack, although Costas is a sportscaster, it does look like NBC News and Costas are going to try to address some of the more political aspects of the Olympic coverage, or of what's going on in Russia while covering the Olympics.
Right. I mean, this was always going to be a big question about how NBC was going to handle this, because not only is it a news question, but also it's a big business question for NBC. They have tons of money riding on the Olympics. It's a huge corporate endeavor that they're doing. They basically shut down the network every 2 years to go to whatever country is hosting whatever Olympics at that time, and that's their coverage for 2 weeks, basically. And so it was always going to be interesting to see how they were going to address all of these big controversies that have been popping up in Russia. And so it's encouraging to see at least Bob Costas say, no, we're going to go after this angle. We're not going to shy away from it, even if it proves complicated for our coverage. So now the only thing to do is see how they will follow through on that, and how much they will give that kind of emphasis and coverage to this issue.
Certainly. I mean, it's good to see that they're not ignoring the issue altogether. I mean, obviously the Olympics are supposed to be about the Olympics and about the competition that's going on, but you can't just pretend like there aren't some political issues at hand too. Right. In terms of precedent, have they done that before? When we had an Olympics in Beijing, was there also political coverage of what was going on in China?
I don't think it was the leading thing that anyone, was going on about. I would imagine that they did something about it at some point, but really the emphasis on all of these Olympic Games is just about the majesty of the Olympics. And so that's the kind of, subtlety that I think people are going to be looking at. Do they do these kinds of things in prime time? Do they just do a report in the morning when fewer people are watching? How much are they going to talk about these things? How much are they going to talk about them in terms of the athletes performing there? So it's one thing to say, yes, we're going to address it, and it's another thing to say, we are going to be aggressive about this as a news network and hold Russia accountable for what it's doing.